history of McDonald's. Ray, are you on, sir?
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thanks, guys. Hi, I'm Ray Kroc. Raymond Albert Kroc. You just call me Ray. I have a wonderful story to tell you about how I made the world's biggest and most recognizable fast food restaurant chain in the world. At one point, all of you have eaten at one of my 39,000 locations worldwide, so there must be a reason why. For the last 67 years, we have helped feed America and on dozens of other countries and on 6 continents. Yes, we feed 1% of the world's population. So today I'd like to tell you about how our products are made, a brief history of McDonald's, our menu choices. We'll get into detail about bestsellers and about franchises and a deep dive into nutrition. I was born October 5th, 1902 in a suburb of Chicago called Oak Park, Illinois. My dad was a failed real estate agent. When I was little, I had a lemonade stand. When I was older, I worked at a soda fountain. In World War I was an underage teenage ambulance driver. And after the war, I got involved, did odd jobs. I was a pianist, I was a DJ, and became a salesman, going door to door, selling household appliances, even a bed that folded up into your kitchen. And then I got involved with the Lily Tulip Cup Company as a cup salesman. And I stayed there 19 years, becoming Midwestern sales manager. And then in the late 30s, I met a man, Earl Prince, who devised a machine to make 5 milkshakes at one time. I bought the patent for this and went around the entire country to dozens of states trying to sell this to hundreds of restaurants. I had limited success, some wanted, some wanted it. And then in 1954, when I was 52 years old, I got a call from a restaurant called McDonald's out in San Bernardino, California. And they wanted 8 mixers. 8? Who'd want to make 40 shakes at once? So I went out to investigate. And it was owned by 2 brothers, Dick and Maurice McDonald. And here they are, and here I am talking to them. And then when they showed me their operation, this rocked my world. They were able to feed daily hundreds of customers a simple meal of a shake, fries, and a burger, and they're able to serve each customer in less than a minute. They call this speedy service. And they had an assembly line production going on with 12 employees, each one doing a specified job. Automated machines squirted ketchup and mustard on burgers. Here's one of my shake machines. Many of the orders were pre-assembled to quicken the pace. And this was a true symphony of efficiency. And I was super impressed, so impressed I wanted to become their franchising agent for them, trying to recruit new business or copycat their stores. My take would be 2% of any new franchise, the brothers 0.5%. And I did real well for the next 7 years, from 1954 to 61. I was able to get 230 franchises with sales of $37 million. 61, I bought them out, brothers out, for $2.7 million as me, the salesman, became the owner. And I would offer franchises then for $950, and I would be on the lookout for managers and owners that were good at people skills, not flipping burgers. And I would get into the real estate business because I would own the stores and sign the franchisees 20-year leases, me getting monthly rent, which is how I able to make my money. And I was a believer in conformity and uniformity, so each store was standardized from top to bottom. That means each had the same, interior and exterior design with the same amount of space, with the same seating arrangements, with the same menu, the same prices, the same cooking units, and employees wearing the same uniforms. This all resulted in the same great taste and experience with value that you could find in any store of ours from Maine to Alaska. I was a stickler about control and consistency, and that each store be well lit, clean, well maintained, and be tied into a functioning factory that delivered a value-packed or economy-based meal for a society on the go. My first store opened in Des Plaines, Illinois in 1955. It later became a museum. And from 55 to 63, I was able to open 500 stores and sell 1 billion burgers. See, when you increase supply, demand will follow. And I went everywhere to open stores. Here I am in Minnesota, making a name for myself. How I chose locations, I would go to cities and fly around in a helicopter and plane and check out the suburbs also, and check out roads that were well traveled, that would buy intersections with stoplights, build my things there, places there, and go to also near hospitals, churches, and schools. In 1961, I opened up Hamburger University in the northern Chicago suburbs. This is a training center for all franchise owners to go to. They stay here about 2 or 3 months. It's paid for by the franchises. Here they have a college level course on how to run a franchise. This is serious. People take notes and are in classroom situations and hands-on learning. And they learn all the ropes about how to handle a franchise. Like how to handle drive-thrus. Here they're taking notes with notebooks here. And I mean everything, like in dealing with employees, employee regulations, about cash registers, how to work them, intensive work about knowledge about our menu, how to clean windows, tables, floors, bathrooms, how to work all the machines like coffee makers, dispensers for drinks, how to order supplies, how to deal with commissary trucks that come in, simple accounting methods like daily cash receipts, how to clean grills, how to cook food, how to wrap sandwiches, how to make all the foods, how to fry foods, how to store foods in special bins and refrigerators and freezers, how to take care of waste disposal, all the aspects of running a business. And again, like they're run in classroom situations. 5,000 people go through this a year. And when they graduate, they get a degree in hamburgerology. And this all-intensive training program was developed by Fred Turner. Actually, I met him selling franchises. He was a Bible salesman, became a grill cook, and then CEO for 20 years with McDonald's. 275,000 people have graduated this over 3 generations. And we have a college-like campus there. Plus, we have training centers all over the world in 28 different languages, like in Shanghai, in Singapore, in Rome, Paris, London, Sydney, Hamburg, Germany, all over. Corporate headquarters used to be in Oak Brook, Illinois, west of Chicago, in 80-acre campers, now recently moved to Chicago's west side. Our best-selling product is, you already know this, French fries. And we sell 9 million pounds daily to customers worldwide. We buy 3.5 billion pounds of potatoes a year. They're sent by truckload to an automated factory. They go up a chute, and they are washed and peeled, and then they are sent through machines, cutting them at 75 mph to make finger-sized slices. Then they are dipped in, blanched in water for 15 minutes to have a soft interior. They are dried and then fried in a concoction of vegetable oils for about a minute. Wheat and milk products are put in to hydrogenate the oil and give it a beef-like taste. Then they are frozen, packaged, and sent to stores where they're fried again for a minute, salted, and served. There are 17 ingredients in the fries. Many of them you need to be a chemistry major to figure out. And the 6th ingredient is dextrose, which is sugar. We have the best fries around per any survey and beat the other guys hands down. Used to be we just had one size, but size matters, so we have a small at 10 grams of fat, a medium at 20 grams, and a large will cost you about $3.39. The profit margin behind fries is 80 to 90%, as it costs just 20 cents to make them. But the profit margin goes away sort of when we deal with a lot of beef and meat products like chicken. And speaking of that, we use about 500,000 to 1 million pounds of beef a day. We slaughter millions of cattle a year. They used to come from Central America, but we were destroying the rainforest, so we got them locally. The beef is processed in processing plants like this one. This one's in Germany. This one processes 30 million patties a week. That's because we have 1,500 stores in Germany and 1,500 stores in neighboring France. The meat comes through conveyor belts, is inspected by inspectors, and minced, and then made into patties at about 5 million a day. The patties are then frozen, boxed, sent to stores where they're cooked for 1 minute on each side. Speaking of burgers, the best-selling product is a Big Mac, which you should have all had. This has been around over 50 years. Of course, you remember our jingle from '75, 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, and onions on a sesame seed bun. And if you remember that, that means our advertising works. Just one burger has half your sodium and fat needs for 1 day. The cost was 45 cents back in the day, $1.60, $2.45, and now is around $4. 900 million of them are made worldwide. The profit margin is $1 for each, about 20%. Back about 13 years ago, this was the time needed to buy one. 12 minutes. If you're in Nairobi, though, it would take you 4 hours. This sandwich has a global reputation and in many foreigners' eyes represents America itself as arrogant and decadent and dominant. Speaking of burgers, the quarter pounder is your best deal. You can make it to order and put on the garnishments you want for it. As for other products, they're stored in bins when they haven't been sold and thrown away after 20 or 30 minutes. For eggs, we buy 2 billion grade A cage-free eggs a year. They are made 3 ways: in egg rings to make Egg McMuffin, liquid eggs to make scrambled eggs, and folded eggs we get from our suppliers frozen and then heat up. The Egg McMuffin's been around 50 years. We sell hundreds of millions of them a year. It can be enhanced with sausage or cheese, but plain, it has 12 grams of fat compared to 17 grams of protein. Chicken McNuggets are made from small pieces of chicken and then coated with a coating of 24 different ingredients. And they come in a box of 10, about 400 calories, and cost near $5. The McDonald's Happy Meal. This one's a big seller. We sell 400 million of them a year. They cost about $3.39, and they're for children. And worldwide, we sell over 1 billion of them. I'm throwing a lot of numbers at you, but we'll get to slow down a bit on that. And it comes with, in a box, it comes with a child-sized proportion of fries, a burger, apple slices, 1% milk, and a toy. We are the world's largest toy seller, and the toy, 90% of the kids, toy distributor, and the toy is the reason why 90% of the children say the toy is the reason why they want the meal. We act as surrogate moms and grandparents for kids, someone they can trust year-round, all the time. And so we aggressively market to kids. After all, they're our current and future customers. After all, when a child comes to McDonald's, they can afford to be fussy or picky eaters, can stay as long as they want. They're open 7 days a week with long hours, can be cooled off on hot days, warmed up on cold days. We have a clean, safe, well-lit environment to come to, and plus we have nice bathrooms. And plus we have play areas for them. So seeing us is like visiting grandma's, but with no rules. So pay and then stay a while. Our chief mascot, speaking of kids, is Ronald McDonald. Here he is with Fred Turner. This perpetually happy clown character has been around since the mid-60s, and many of you saw him in commercials that you remember from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And he would live in a land called McDonald Land. And he had fictional like-minded characters such as Mayor McCheese, Grimace, the Hamburglar, Birdie, etc. Ronald became very rich at making these commercials. So rich that he liked buying things like trademarks. So when you see this R here, well, that's not for registered trademark, it's for Ronald McDonald. He also had a problem with one of the characters on the set making the commercials. His name was Uni the Unicorn. Uni would cause a lot of problems because he'd come to the set as drunk and disorderly and would smoke and swear. So Ronald didn't like that and wanted to make a statement, so he purchased the UL symbol, which is not for Underwriters Laboratories, but is for Unicorns Are Lame. These commercials were criticized by healthcare professionals and doctors as promoting childhood obesity and pandering to innocent kids in search for profits. But as we all know, the tobacco companies, cereal companies, firearm companies, and gaming industries, they all do this, they all cater to the same song and want to hook in kids early to be lifelong loyal customers. Kids recognize our corporate symbol before they can talk. And kids love it at McDonald's. But let's personalize this. You see a beautiful family here, see mom with an infant. And if that infant is taken to McDonald's twice a week, if that infant sees and hears our commercials at the home, and if that infant sees our stores from its car seat and is talked about in the house, that's good. Because when an infant grows to be a year and a half old and becomes a toddler, he or she starts to talk. And the first words will be ma or da. Well, as a parent, you think that's for mom and dad, but a child might say it's for McDonald's. So, we were criticized for excessive packaging, so we switched to 100% recycled materials. 80% now is made this way. We want to be totally green in 3 years. Our menu consists of 145 items, up from 85 items just 15 years ago, and up from 27 items up 55 years ago. And we want to compete with the other guys, like Starbucks, Burger King, Wendy's, Dunkin' Donuts, and Chick-fil-A. So there's a myriad of options you can get. Extra value meals are available, which is a set of 3 items for one price. Like extra value breakfasts, like Egg McMuffin, McGriddle sandwiches with bacon, cheese, and sausage, hotcakes, hash browns, pasta, or any such combo. This is a confusing item here, but there are extra value meals also for lunch, like any burger, fries, or soft drink combos, or any items for one price depending on the year. Actually, there are a la carte items also to get, like pies, drinks, sundaes, shakes, cookies, apple pie, beverages like 9 different types of coffee, 3 different types of tea, soft drinks, lemonade, hot chocolate, standalone burgers like cheeseburgers, chicken or fish sandwiches, chicken wraps, and a Caesar salad. We have a bakery with donuts, muffins, and cinnamon rolls. All told, there are 16,400 combinations that you can get. And we sell drinks. They're not $1 anymore, but are more expensive. But we have a special partnership with Coca-Cola and follow exactly their guidelines for cold storage of their syrup, and as well as use a reverse osmosis water filter for a great tasting experience. We sell 2 billion beverages a day. Multiply that out by 16 months and you get 1 trillion. So by end of 5 years, we have sold 4 trillion beverages worldwide. Each soft drink, if you buy it in the large section, has 39 grams of sugar. So we provide enough sugar to supply one country for as long as it needs. And 80% of the franchises we own. And this slide I really love, because it's wonderful to see new owners, like women owners, minority owners, people of color. This woman has 13 franchises herself. Good to see women in other countries owning this. To buy a traditional standalone McDonald's restaurant in a high volume traffic area, maybe like the one in Magnolia Plaza, just near Everglades Clerk Center, that'll cost you $2.5 million. For the initial setup, and broken down, it's a $45,000 franchising fee, rent for space $240,000, which slides down, signs, equipment, seating, and decor $1.5 million, opening inventory $40,000, opening expenses $60,000, training to own, and living expenses about $37,000, and need money for additional funds. Those can be scaled back when you buy a used McDonald's store, but you have to pay per valued customer that the store already has. Also, prices scale down when you buy them in odd areas, like in ski resorts, a train car, or squeezed in. Prices also go down in rural areas, and in convenience stores, in universities, in malls, and in airports. And this is the world's smallest McDonald's. And here is one shaped like a barn and a silo. So prices, depending on where you are, where you buy, that is the convenience of getting it to customers, the product, the prices are a bit scaled down. A franchise owner will stand to make about $150,000 a year on their $2 million investment. And if you use our regulations and rules, you will do just fine. But we don't have any room for renegades, hotshots, and know-it-alls. So you need to play by the rules. Consistency matters in all countries, on all continents, and everywhere. You want to bring in about $3,000 a day or more, and to be successful, about over 1 million, 1.2, 1.3 million, or we might pull the plug on you. We have a charity arm called the Ronald McDonald House Charities, and part of the reason why I'm here talking today, not just about business, but about the family. This is really important because sometimes kids get sick or they have accidents and need to be taken to hospitals far away, or doctor care far away from where they live. So we bring the families with them and put them up at special houses like this, so that families can stay close to their kids. We recognize the importance of this. There are 240 locations of these Ronald McDonald House Charities around, and so far we've put up 9 million people in 50 years. We have them all over: Canada, Fort Lauderdale, Delaware, Texas, one in Gainesville, and they have fundraisers also to make money for their house. We test products in our corporate headquarters, and we have an innovation center there where we test the packaging, and a sensory department that has people like this tasting out what new products that we have. All products are kept on the table. That means they're examined quite rigorously because we want to know if it'll work or not. So this is taken seriously because any product that we have is really a reflection of our corporate ideas and attitude. So we have a test kitchen where we test out how the product tastes. Is it too hard, too soft, too flaky, too gooey, too chewy, too spicy, too sweet, too sour? Is it too bland? So we test it out by eating it that way. That's in the sensory department, in our test kitchens, and we also make them with packaging. Is the packaging easy to work with? Putting it in. Is it easy to carry it around? Can you keep it in your car? Can you hold it in your car, at work, or at home, or even take it to a ball game? Actually, the Angus wrap takes 40 seconds to make. We also test other products besides food. We test new bun steamers have shaved 12 seconds off making our product. New cash registers also save time. So we test everything. They have to fit in what we do. And here's some of the ideas we've had, like a Fruit Loops McFlurry. How about twisted fries? How about McFizzes? How about a McEgg? So many of these are like test pilots. We try them out and see if they work. They're like pilots that you get on a TV show. 98% of them won't work at all, but the 2% that do are the ones that can make a difference and be bestsellers and make us hundreds of millions. After all, we need to get the advertising out for this. We sell to 70 million people every day, so this needs to work. Now, it's been a national joke for decades that we pay the lowest wages. Really, the minimum wages for state and local and national levels. This would ensure a worker a poverty-type existence, basically the definition of a dead-end job. So, in defense of that, I would say employing your 16-year-old son or daughter for the summer, or employing a college-age kid in between semesters, or employing someone who's had some problems with employment, is down and out, and needs a break, well then that's a good thing, because being with us sure beats wandering the streets, sure beats being in trouble with the law, sure beats being involved with gangs, and being a mom or dad too early in life. We keep kids employed and off the streets, and it adds to your resume working with us, and you can work up in the ranks to get a higher position if you stay with us long enough. We now employ 1.7 million workers around the world. We're the world's second largest employer. We employ about 500,000 to more in the United States. And we currently pay cooks and crew members $10.80 to $11.80 per hour. Cashiers $11.15. A shift leader who leads crew members $11.15, or a yearly salary of $23K. A shift manager makes $12 or $25K yearly and oversees the unit's budget and inventory. Assistant managers make $37K a year. Managers $13.85 an hour or $47K yearly, and general managers about $17.85 an hour or about $55K. We do all this to keep people employed. Most McDonald's workers are part-time workers also, and we will not be using the $15 idea per hour. That'll drive customers away and have them go down the street. So most of our employees are part-time employees working less than 30 hours a week. Full-timers are 30 hours a week. We have tuition reimbursement and health care. The average worker is 24 years old, white, and 55% female. Many people don't know that behind the scenes of running a store, and there's all these people behind it you'll never see. We need to have commissary trucks come in and take care of products, new products. We have a supply chain preparation, speaking of new products, that's 2 years ahead of product launch. We have a one ingredient, one supplier policy. Someone has to, for instance, plow our parking lots when there's too much snow. Trucks need to come in. Employees need uniforms. Bathrooms need to be fixed. If you have a new unit, architects need to come in to design it. People have to come in to supply all the infrastructure inside the building, like cooking units. Those have to be maintained. Needs to be janitorial services, waste disposal services, and security reasons. So it's all these people, and because of that, we keep communities stronger by employing all these people. So support your local McDonald's. We've set the template for what other fast food chains do. And we also noticed that moms began to work later on in the 60s and 70s, moms with kids. And this changed the family dynamics, and even single moms too, because when parents come home, they have from working, they're tired, and it's a big hassle to make a meal. And plus you have to have all the ingredients and you have to cook it. So we take all that hassle away like this. You just come with us and we set it all up for you, just throw it away when you're done. No hassle, no mess, no fuss. We want to be the new American church, showcasing family values. We realize the importance of this. We want to be a place where people come together and break bread, because that's what brings people together. You can't be upset with each other when you're eating. And we want to showcase these family values and community standards, capturing your hearts, minds, and souls 7 days a week. This idea comes from when we started harvesting fire 220,000 years ago. That is, around the fireplace, people can eat and have small talk, bond this way, and tell all kinds of things about their heritage or just small talk. The campfire evolved into the hearth evolved into the fireplace evolved into the stove. Your kitchen table that you sit at with your spouse is 12 feet from your stove. We also know that families that eat together stay together, that couples that eat together stay together. This is the importance of having meals together. Who do we sell to? A lot of males between 16 and say 25 who have working class jobs. Single males, single women like coming to our restaurant too. It's safe, cozy place. We also cater to families, anybody from a toddler to age 45. I'll be blunt, we don't really sell to older people because you guys aren't going to come. However, I still want you, your spouse, your children, and your grandchildren. Sooner or later, they'll be mine. We have 14,300 locations in America, and the McDonald brothers thought of the logo for it, a giant M or the golden arches. Notice it's in yellow and red. Red, yellow, and green are colors that stimulate our thinking so that our minds so that we're hungry. They represent comfort food. The symbol itself, the giant M, is sexually androgynous. It could be for a male because it sticks straight up. It could be for a woman because it's their breasts or an inverted womb. Much like the ancient Egyptian symbol for life, the Ankh, that has a womb and an obvious male counterpart. So, catchy ad slogans coupled with singable background music have been used since '61, such as McDonald's is your kind of place, You Deserve a Break Today, written by Barry Manilow. It's from 71 to 75. McDonald's is sure good to have around in 74. We Do It All For You, 75 to 79. Nobody can do it like McDonald's, from 79 to 83. The simpler the better, 100% real beef, real good. And the current, I'm loving it. We spent $650 million per year on advertising in the States, about $50 million per month, about a little less than $2 million per day. Worldwide, we spent $2 billion on advertising on revenue of $22 billion. So big beefy bliss, you got it. Many of you can recite and sing and remember our slogans. That's good. 60% of all Americans come through our doors in 3 months. Now, I could have kept the name. I kept the name McDonald's because it sounds good. It rolls right off your tongue. But Crocs wouldn't. It's a Slavic name. No one wants to say I want to eat at Crocs. It's just 2 hard syllables. And you're probably wondering how I did this all. How did I meet these people? Well, I had to go to country clubs to meet people who had money to hit up on them. I went to country clubs, Rotary clubs, also went to churches. And the Baptists were easiest to hit up on because they went to church for so long, from 8:30 in the morning to 2:30 in the afternoon, so they were very pliable and easy to work with. Catholics were just the opposite. They went to church too short of a time, so I couldn't catch them too much. And probably you think I'm just brassy and cocky right now saying these things, but I had to be in order to attract investors. Nobody wants to deal with somebody who's the 4 M's, meek, mousy, and mild-mannered. They want someone who they can have confidence with, that would know where their money is invested, is going to go and is going to make them money. So I had a good sense to tell and find out which people had money and which ones didn't. And my sense tells me there are a couple people in here that could afford one of my franchises. And I'll describe you right now. First of all, you're quiet, you're soft-spoken, you don't wear flashy clothes, you don't have a trophy spouse, you keep your cards close to your vest, you're smart, and have your money well invested. However, if you want to take a ride with me, you know where to find me. Remember, you can't start a fire without a spark, even though we're just dancing in the dark. Many of you disregard me because of lack of nutrition, and we have cheap food. Okay, got that. However, when you're on a long-distance trip and been driving on the highway for hours trying to get to your second home, or you're trying to see relatives, you've been driving for hours, and then when you see one of our signs, this is a welcome relief knowing that there's a sure bet oasis where you can get re-energized. Now I'm going to talk about the big elephant in the room because I know you're all thinking of this. It's about nutrition and meal sizes. Yes, meal sizes have increased. It used to be this burger. Now we've more than 2.5 times bigger. That's because we took risks. And that's why things got bigger over time. And in 2006, we started advertising calories because this was a big deal then. But savvy customers now are more concerned about what goes into their bodies. However, most are not. Fast food restaurants like ours provide poor nutrition and are considered junk food wastelands. To be blunt, our products are oversalted with high sodium content, high fat, high sugar, and cheap carbs. We sell our products to those who don't know or care about the content of their food. Yes, our menu choices provides easily consumed energy, but is considered a poor way to eat, nourish, and maintain your body. This simplistic kind of no-thinking diet is what many people crave and want more of when it's available. It's an addiction. Our food is soft, easy to chew and digest, and is quite palatable like baby or toddler food in consistency. It homogenizes quickly, melting in your mouth. This kind of food is pleasing to most people as it satisfies long-held evolutionary ideas. Back in the day when we used to hunt animals and we got the meat and fat, we had to binge eat these things from these hunted animals way back when. This is because you didn't know when your next meal was coming from, and that kind of food would satisfy things. It would give you the energy to stay warm and be able to do other things. Because if you have a plant-based diet, then you're always trying to find something to eat 12 and 14 hours a day, like with berries, nuts, seeds, vegetables. Well, who wants to do that? But if you have meat and fat, then you have all this extra time to have just 3 meals, not 6. So therefore, you can do other things like make music, make pottery for your to store things in, work on a language for your group, or make your village into a town, into a city. This is the calories that we needed to be able to do this. And these long-held ideas have stayed with us all these years and are in us right now. So therefore, our food is caloric. These are under 400 calories, like Oreo McFlurry, and the cheeseburger and the veggie deluxe. These are under 600 calories, like the Big Mac Chicken Legend. Now, this is rather confusing. There's too many figures on here. We'll talk about the carbs later on, but you'll notice in these sandwiches that the amount of fat equals the amount of protein. Like a cheeseburger, 13G, 15G. 26G for fat for the deluxe crispy chicken, 27G for the protein. Filet of fish, 18G fat, 16G protein. Same with the Big Mac, 30G, 25. Okay, you got the idea, they're the same. Okay, so how does this relate to the real world? If you go to a restaurant and order an 8-ounce steak, and when you get it cooked, half of it, exactly half of it, is pure fat. So you're going to cut that away and eat the lean meat. And then you're going to be angry that you spent all your money and you only got half a meal. So what we do is we just homogenize the whole thing. We marbleize it, put it all together, and mix the fat in with the protein or the lean meat, and put a nice sauce on it and put a bun on it, and you'll eat it. You and I are cut from the same cloth, and we have a symbiotic relationship. I need your business, you need my calories. Together, we complete each other. As far as calories is concerned, the average person needs 2,000 calories a day. Active people, about 2,900. Golfers, about 2,400. And that didn't work. And this one sandwich has 1,100 calories in it. And to make it taste good, we put extra ingredients in it. Since 30 years ago, we've added extra sugar, about 220%. We cooked the fries longer in special oils and made them more caloric, which adds to the fat. Put in more salt. With the milkshakes, more calories and more sugars. We put in more sugars, that adds up to this. And even in the cheeseburger. Imagine if your car was 240% bigger than what it was, you couldn't even fit it in your driveway. But if your investments were that much, you love things. So we are too sweet to be true, because we jack up all these things. Our meal proportions have increased significantly over the decade. People want more, and for a few extra pennies can get supersized proportions. Therefore, along the way, sizes of meals increased, cups for drinks, bags, and carry-out containers got bigger, and the demand clearly backed it up. Thus, prices increased correspondingly over time. So all things have jumped up in price, like the cheeseburger doubled, the McSpicy doubled, the chicken doubled. So this then resulted in higher employee minimum wages. So as the years passed, our profits multiplied. We built more stores with newer, faster automated machines, cheap young labor, and more choices on the menu, and our stock went up and up. So supersize me. Just stuff me full of it, because McDonald's symbolizes and embodies America. We are big, bold, proud. What we eat is what we are. The average person needs 1,500 to 2,200 max milligrams of salt a day. Too much salt directly leads to hypertension. You have to take medication or you end up in the hospital. Our single hamburger is 700 mg's of salt. The filet of fish, 560. This will do two things. It'll make you buy more of our beverages to wash it down, and it's an addiction. It'll make you come back for more and more, and I know there's some of you that are salivating for this. The average person needs between 30 to 75 grams of fat a day, depending on head, height, weight, and sex. This is what 5 pounds look like. More specifically, 5 pounds of muscle, 5 pounds of fat. She's 100 pounds overweight and looks like this. When this happens, this makes the heart work harder. You end up you might have type 2 diabetes. You're going to have your veins filled with too much cholesterol that can block arteries, that can make a heart attack. It makes you move slow and makes you have knee operations. So obesity kills. Our hot cakes our breakfast hot cakes here with egg has 63 grams of fat in it. Our apple pie has 11 grams, bacon cheeseburger 14 grams. Sure, fat tastes wonderful. It tastes great. Back from our evolutionary days, sure. But fat can kill. Also, It tastes good. So we're betting that you're going to come back for more, and you're betting your life on it. And so is he. He's loving it. So is he. And I'm gaining it, baby. The average person, the average male needs 30 grams, the average female needs 30 grams of sugar a day. The average male needs 40 grams of sugar a day. Our chicken sandwich here has 22 grams of sugar. This is the sugar that you need. And for the Shamrock Shake, it has 63 grams of sugar, and the Triple Shake has 163 grams of sugar. This quadruples what the average person would need. We consume 135 pounds of sugar a day, what maybe an average person would weigh. 135 pounds a year. That's a pound every 5 days. That's too much. And let's take a look at the McCafe. Why, it has 680 calories, 24 grams of fat, saturated fat, which is the bad fat. There's 15 grams of that. Sugar, 101 grams. Geez, that's a lot. Sodium, 160 milligrams. How about that? Its cousin, the chocolate McCafe, chocolate one, has 19 teaspoons of sugar, 560 calories, and somewhere around this many grams of sugar. You might as well be eating a McCookie. But what's best for you, instead of all these bad things, is one of our things that doesn't have any dextrose to it. Maybe the chicken Caesar salad here. But no hungry guy is going to eat this. As far as bread is concerned, a typical order has meat, protein, or white bread, buns, and English muffins for carbs for easy digestion. Tens of millions of buns are made per day into a myriad of different sandwiches. We use white bread, which has a bran and germ sieved out of it that makes the bread soft and easy to chew. All the nutrition is taken out of the grain and replaced it with simple, nutritionally bland, refined, bleached pulp. Historically speaking, wealthy people consumed white bread over darker bread. The darker bread is more natural, is more coarse. Okay? That requires then more chewing, which requires more liquids to wash it down. And chewing is low class. It is bourgeois. It is Neanderthal. No one wants to see that. But refined food that has everything taken out of it, well, you can cut it with your tongue. So that's why Marie Antoinette said, let them eat cake. Because refined food, you can do other things and multitask with. Who needs to chew? It's too commonplace. And your tongue even approves. Why work so hard when eating? These refined procedures then make fast food taste appealing as the carbs are quickly turned to glucose, giving us fast express delivered restorative energy. This then sets in motion a craving for more in a few hours, as carbs do not have the long-lasting power as protein. In other words, you eat this, you're going to get hungry in about 2 hours. So protein is the best, but protein has problems. It's costly, takes a while to cook, is bland, you need to put a sauce on it, and it's really chewy. Some carbs are easiest for digestion in terms of getting it down you and restoring your energy. But for eating carbs, it's a fast and furious burnout requiring needed attention. So protein is the best for you, and when you sleep, it helps restore your muscles. All these gastronomical delights, if offered, will add up to a lot of problems, and especially with advertising also. Actually, I missed the slide, my fault. We have truth in advertising. What should look like this sometimes looks like this. What looks like this ends up like this. What looks like this, you get this. Same thing with one of our products. So what you see isn't always what you get. Now, getting back to what I was saying, all these problems add up that center around obesity. 1/4 of all Americans will visit a fast food place today. This high-fat and sugar diet leads to obesity in adults and an alarming increase in childhood obesity. Overweight children, teens, and young adults are very common to see now, and usually their parents look the same. Children now get little exercise, constantly sit and obsessed with their smartphones. When was the last time you went to a family pool and saw this here in the villages? And even in swimming pools, and play excessively with their video games indoors and eat a caloric time bomb of over-processed, sugary, fat-laden foods in great quantities. When we were going to school, just 1 or 2 kids were overweight or obese. By 1980, it was 7%. Now it's 1/3 the class. We have met the enemy, and it is our diet. Our diet is the new smoking. Now, we put out about, we process about 4 to 5 billion calories a day. What does that look like, 1 billion? Well, of that 1 billion, 100 million of it would be protein. 400 million of that would be sugars. 250 million would be carbs, and 250 million of it would be fat. We also, in total, we sell about 4 to 5 trillion calories a year doing this. Now, I could offer a lot of stores that had organic, this and that, vegetables, fruit, tofu burgers, organic, this and that, veggie burgers. Sure, I could, but if I did that, all our stores would be bankrupt within 2 weeks. We sell what people want, period. As far as our market share, out of every $10, we get $2.20. Yum Brands, we have a 22% market share shown here. Yum Brands, which is which is KFC, has this. Doctors Associates, which is Subway, they have 37,000 stores. Do you believe that, Subway? Wendy's has this, and we have this. We dominate everybody, and there's a reason for this. These are some statistics that we have. We sell more than 75 burgers a second. If we were a country, we'd be the 68th biggest economy in the world. We open 1 store every 15 hours. There are more McDonald's than hospitals in the United States. And we employ maybe 1 out of 8 workers has worked with us in the United States. As for me, yours truly, Ray Kroc, well, I contributed $200,000 to Richard Nixon's re-election campaign so he wouldn't raise the minimum age for teenagers. I bought the San Diego Padres at 74 for $10 million and sold them 3 years later. I wrote a book called Grinding It Out. This tells my experience with the McDonald's brothers. This book then was made into a motion picture called The Founder with actor, I forgot his name.
Michael.
Oh, thank you. Michael Keaton, thank you. And this told my story also in a dramatic form. I was an alcoholic because I was away from my wife. All those years trying to sell those mixers, being away for weeks from Ethel. We had a nice home in Winnetka, didn't have any kids, so the bottle became my friend. I had a violent temper. I was married 3 times, once to Ethel for 39 years, to Jane for 5, and then to Joan. And met her in '69. I stole her from my franchise manager that I had. Actually, we all went on a double date. Joan and her husband, and myself and Jane went to a restaurant. She got up and started playing the piano in the restaurant. And because I know how to play, I sat down next to her, we did a duet, and I fell in love with her. And she was just wonderful to be with. And I died in 1984 at age 81. Joan became a very wealthy widow. And with the money, I was worth $500 million then, and she made it even larger. With the money she had in '03, she gave my money away, which is great. She gave $15 million to flood victims in South Dakota, gave $1.5 billion to the Salvation Army, the largest contribution ever to a charitable organization. She gave money for an International Peace Institute, $50 million at the University of San Diego and at Notre Dame. She gave $250 million to NPR, and to this day, to this hour, they still mention her name on programs. She gave millions to the San Diego Zoo and developed an alcoholic program called Cork, which is my name backwards. She did a wonderful job doing this. In case you're wondering about the other characters that we bumped into, and I'll be doing soon, is Ronald McDonald ended up coming out here to the villages. He now works as a radio programmer, radio DJ at WVLG, and he's able to get along well because only clowns work there. And Uni the Unicorn cleaned up his act, came out to the villages, and is now selling annuities to villagers, and offers financial seminars with free lunches. And what's his name? No, almost. Mayor McCheese had a sex change operation, and went to the villages and became a real estate agent, and then saw a great opportunity in selling those little plots of land in roundabouts, and realizing that if you put a giant lanai there and stick a porta toilet in there, that people will think it's a designer house and they will buy it. Okay, so we have 39,000 locations, this many, 1,500 in Canada, in Russia, in Japan, 3,000 in China. We're opening a store there every day. In Australia, in Brazil, we have them all over. We opened one in Moscow in 1990, and the first day we had 30,000 people come. And we beat the pants off the communists. We told them that capitalism works and their system doesn't, and they went kaput in 92. I had a great life, wanted to tell you. I did things my way. I was a risk taker, rule breaker, and game changer. I employed hundreds of thousands of people. I made communities stronger. I made your family unit stronger. I gave people convenience and ease of comfort with my stores. And I made McDonald's into a great American institution that is beloved. Thank you very much. That's the end of my